Hi friends, I'm Rita Boyer, educator at Prospect Presbyterian Church in Maplewood, New Jersey. Thank you for joining me for the summer edition of Tell Me a Story. Today I'll be sharing the lectionary story for August the 16th. At Prospect Church, once a month during the school year, all ages gather together in fellowship hall for something that we call Sensational Sunday. We open with music and then move on to education and activities and fun. How many of you have been to a Sensational Sunday at Prospect? Well, if you have, there's a chance that you may have sung a song that is near and dear to my heart. And that song is Don't Be Afraid. Now, if you're not sure if you remember it, you might remember the motions because we do a silly, scared face as one of the motions. What is your scared face? If somebody scares you, boo! Sorry about that. I hope I didn't scare you too much. But what face did you make? What is your scared face? Well, whenever we sing the song together, our scared faces look like this. The words and emotions are, don't be afraid. My love is stronger. My love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger. And I have promised to be always near. Well, I would love it if we had a piano and some strong singers and we could sing this together. And of course, we don't have all of that, but we have voices. We can do our motions. Okay, so we will do the best we can between my house and your house. But we have to both sing and do the motions at the same time. And as you can see, sometimes I mess up just doing one of them. So putting both together is really a challenge. You'll have to keep an eye on me and try to keep me straight. But let's see how we do together. Would you join me? We start out. Got it? Don't be afraid. My love is stronger. My love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid. My love is stronger, and I have promised to be always near. Thank you for joining me, for giving it a try. You'll hear as I share this story why I am thinking about that particular song. Last week we started the story of Joseph. Told you then it's a long story in the book of Genesis, so we only got through part 1 when we learned that Joseph's brothers were very jealous of the fancy coat that Dad had given him. And they were quite angry when Joseph said he had a dream in which his brothers all bowed down to him. Well, can you imagine? No wonder they were angry. But they decided to get even with him and to show their anger by selling him into slavery. So Joseph was taken off as a slave in Egypt. This week, we see what happened after that in part 2. I'll be sharing it as it is told in the Children of God Storybook Bible. The title of this story is Joseph Feeds and Forgives. Joseph trembled in front of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. "Last night, I had a strange dream," Pharaoh said. "I summoned you because I hear you understand the language of dreams." "It's not I, but God, who will reveal the meaning of your dream," Joseph said. 7 fat cows came out of the river, followed by 7 thin cows, Pharaoh said. "And then the thin ones ate up the fat ones. For 7 years there will be plenty," Joseph explained, "and then for 7 years not a drop of rain will fall, and there will be no food to eat. If you store grain now, there will be enough when the drought comes." Pharaoh saw that Joseph was a wise man and made him governor of Egypt. After 7 years, just as Joseph had said, there was a terrible drought. Joseph's brothers came to beg for food. They bowed down before the mighty governor. When they realized it was Joseph, they trembled, afraid that he would punish them. But Joseph's love for his family was stronger than his anger. Joseph threw his arms around his brothers and kissed them. He said, "What you intended for harm, God intended for good. God has used us to save the world from hunger. Bring our family to live in Egypt, so they will be safe." As I said at the beginning, this story is called Joseph Feeds and Forgives. 2 very important and good things to do. Remember why the people in Egypt needed to prepare and store a lot of food, according to Joseph? Because for 7 years it didn't rain. So the crops couldn't grow and there would be a shortage of food during those years. Well, a drought is what we call it whenever it doesn't rain, and that's certainly one reason why people are not able to eat. But there are other reasons why people do not have enough food to eat. During this strange pandemic time, some people have lost their jobs or aren't getting as large a paycheck as they once did. And so they're struggling to provide enough food for their families. And other families who do have enough and more food are finding ways to help those in need. Right now, if you order dinner from some of the restaurants in Maplewood and South Orange, if you pay a little extra, that money is being used by the restaurants to provide food for other families who need the food. And I know that there are collections that go on in various parks in the area, collections of canned goods, food. There are food banks that people are contributing to. So maybe if your family has enough and more, you can talk about ways to help feed others, as Joseph did. We're not gathering in church the 3rd Sunday of every month to make lunches to go to Newark around Penn Station. But our Prospect Hunger Program is still feeding people using the money that people are contributing, and so we are still making sure that we are trying to feed those who are in need of food. So besides feeding, what was the other thing that Joseph does in this story? Joseph feeds and forgives. Oh, that's a hard one. What did Joseph have to forgive? His brothers selling him as a slave. Well, that's a pretty big forgive. And if you wonder how he could do that, well, this story tells us in my favorite line, Joseph's love for his family was stronger than his anger. Of course, Joseph was mad at his brothers. Who wouldn't be? He was very mad at his brothers. But he still loved them, and his love was stronger than his anger. We all get angry with the people who live in the same house that we live in. Maybe you've already been angry at your brother or sister or mom or dad today. But when we stop and realize that our love is bigger than our anger and stronger than our anger, that helps us know what to do with our anger. That helps us to do the loving thing instead of the angry thing. And now maybe you know why I thought of the song, Don't Be Afraid. Because anger isn't the only thing that gets in the way of our love. Our fear sometimes does too. And so it's good to remember that God's love through us is stronger than our fear as well as our anger. Well, as we remember that this week and think about the story of Joseph, I hope you'll have fun with the activity sheets that I put on our new Faith Formation website, ppcfaithformation.org. There is a puzzle that you can make of Joseph and his brothers, and there's also the same game cards that we had last week, but you'll remember I said there are different cards so that you can play this game for 4 weeks. And so you can return to that sheet and play a game with your family. That's a great way to remember how much we love each other and to make sure that that love is stronger than the anger that we sometimes feel. Would you please pray with me? Dear God, let my love be stronger than my anger and my fear. Amen. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.